In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to explain to you how you can differentiate between an A plus fair value gap and a dog shit fair value gap. And the way I do that is by using a tool and an indicator, which I'm going to introduce to you in the second minute of the video. The first thing I want traders to understand is that you need a fair value gap on the 15-minute time frame, right? 15-minute fair value gaps are the most important thing, right? Once you have that in place, you don't know whether this is an A plus fair value gap or a dog shit fair value gap. And the way you differentiate between the two fair value gaps is by using a tool which I keep talking about. And the reason I keep talking about it is because it is the backbone behind futures trading. And it all comes to using this area over here, right? This is the footprint chart. And I want traders to understand and really read how this particular red candle was printed. So this red candle here corresponds to the red candle you see over here, this large impulsive candle to the downside. Now, what you see over here, what you're reading over here is essentially the delta. The delta is the number of buyers minus sellers. Here you see a lot of red delta. So what this tells you is that there's a lot of aggressive sellers that are being rewarded because you see price break below this level, right? This fair value gap over here is the same as this fair value gap over here. But again, the reason why this becomes an A plus fair value gap and not a dog shit fair value gap is because we see this 1 and 0 at the top. So what that means is that there's only one transaction in the fair value gap. When there's only one transaction in the fair value gap, what this tells us as a trader is that the volume is very low at this fair value gap. And a low volume means that there's a lack of interest between both the buyers and the sellers at that fair value gap. And a lack of interest is what constitutes to lower prices. So the reason we had such an aggressive sell-off over here was because buyers and sellers were not interested in any prices in this region, right? So buyers and sellers were saying, I don't want to trade here, I don't want to trade here. And this is what often causes these massive rallies to the downside, like the ones you see on FOMC. But the main thing to understand over here, once again, is you need to be reading the volume and the delta and understanding where there are high transactions versus where there are low transactions.